Hi, I'm Debbie Kim Morikawa. I'm the owner of Gym Guys. We're an in-home personal training and mobile fitness franchise. We're here today to talk about functional fitness. There are a lot of us who basically don't have the discipline to exercise or do a formal program. And so we want to make sure that you understand how important it is to just move. I don't know if you've ever heard of this term, but I have recently heard that sitting is the new smoking. Sitting has actually been identified as a hazard to your health. It's a separate hazard all on its own, a risk factor. If you sit for prolonged periods of time, and they say that it starts happening in about 30 minutes, it will lower your metabolism, increase your blood fats and sugars, lowers your good cholesterol, and places you at greater risk for back pain. So we want to make sure that if you're watching TV or you're reading a book or you're just relaxing on the sofa, that you get up and move at least every 30 minutes. So today we're going to be talking about different types of activities or exercises that you can do around your home with things that most people do have at home so that you can just move. Okay, so I have Nina with me today. Nina is one of our fitness coaches. And we're going to start out with just, an exercise that's going to work on some stretches, okay? So in our earlier series on foundational fitness, we talked about the right posture and mechanics for sitting. We want to make sure that she's in that position. So that would mean that basically her feet are flat on the floor, that she's maintaining all the neutral curves in her back. And in this position, I want her to also do that quick sniff so that she braces her core, and she's going to hold that position. She has to breathe. Remember, all of these things that we do, you want to make sure that you're breathing throughout. Breathing is very important. Okay, she's going to do a neck stretch. So she's going to hold the side of the chair with one hand. With the other hand, she's going to grab the side of her head, and then she's going to pull that to the side. A lot of us end up getting really tight in our necks. So this is a really good stretch. You can actually feel it. You want to hold it for 20 seconds. What I tell people to do is when you're watching TV again or just sitting and relaxing, this is something that you can just do, periodically and switch sides. And again, don't even think about it. Just think, oh, commercial, let me do my neck stretch. Okay? So this is one. Another one is we oftentimes lose the mobility through our spine. We get really stiff, so you see people, they kind of move in a block pattern because they don't have that rotation. So we want to make sure we keep that. So while you're seated again in that tall position, she's going to turn, grab the chair, and she's going to turn and look as far as she can to the back. So you see all that rotation that's occurring in through here. We're stretching out those muscles and strengthening the ones that are pulling her into that rotation. So she's strengthening her core as well as stretching out the muscles that are tight. Okay? So that's what we refer to as our seated thoracic rotations. Okay, another area that typically gets tight is in the hips. And so the seated figure four, or also known as the piriformis stretch, you want to put your ankle on top of your knee, and you're going to press down behind your knee. Okay, so both hands can go across, not on your knee, but behind your knee. And you're going to sit up nice and tall again, and you're going to press down on that leg. Most people, there are a lot of people, their knees just stay up in the air. It doesn't actually go down as flat. Nina's really, really flexible. So this is the way you see most people sit this way, but Nina can actually go all the way down. So she's going to push it all the way down. She's trying to show us that, I can be like everyone else, but she's not. She's really flexible. Okay, so, and you're still holding it. Now, if you want to get an even stronger stretch, you can, again, keep your core tight, and then she's going to push her stomach into her thigh and just lean forward, right about there, good. And then she can kind of feel that stretch in here going a little bit more, okay? So what I tell people to do is, don't think of this as a stretch. Think of it as an exercise that you can just do without having to think about it. So if you're at the computer and you're working, just get into that position and then just work until your leg gets tired of being in that position, and then switch your legs and switch to the other side. Don't worry about that you're not keeping your proper form the whole time. Just make sure you start out in the right form and set yourself, and then go ahead and do whatever it is you're doing. Okay? All right, so those are some good stretches for the areas that we often get tight. Okay, so now we're going to stand up and look at some balance exercises again around the house. So we're going to turn the chair so that she can hold in the middle of the chair. We don't want you to lean in on the outside because that could be dangerous either way. So you want your hand to be towards the middle. You want to be able to start out with just your hand over the chair, light touch, only use it as you need to. If you need to lean on it, go right ahead and lean on it. But as you're able to get better balance, then tap it. So we're going to start out with the single leg stance. That is something that doesn't seem that difficult, but for our older people, sometimes it does become a little more challenging. So she's just going to lift her leg up off the ground, right, and hold it. Now what I'm looking for to make sure that she's doing it properly is this hip on this side, I want to make sure that it's not collapsing. So we don't want it to collapse down. We want her to be strong. And there you go, right there. And she's holding it. And this is the one time I'm okay with her knee locking out. Okay? Usually I tell you soft knees, but in this one, if she needs to lock it out to really tighten up these muscles right in here, that's okay. Okay? Now, to make it a little more complicated or a little more challenging, she's going to do it on each leg. And again, she starts out maybe leaning, and then maybe a little bit later, she doesn't need to. She can just put her hand a little bit over it and just tap it if she needs to. And then now she's going to bring her foot in front because this changes the dynamic of that stance. Now she's got to shift her weight and hold it in front. Okay? And then she's going to switch legs. Okay. So you can just drop your knee down. There you go. So you see how she had to kind of lean back, and now she's kind of finding her balance, getting into her neutral. So all the things we learned in the previous segments where we talked about posture and mechanics, you want to get to your neutral, you want to hold yourself there, brace your core, and then lift that foot up and try to stay centered. Okay? Now, this is one of those exercises again. You can do anywhere around the house. You're standing at the sink doing the dishes, you're wiping a counter, you're brushing your teeth. Just practice getting on one foot. Doesn't take a whole lot of concentration. Just do it. And if you keep doing it throughout the day, that leg is going to get stronger. Just make sure that you're not collapsing, that you don't get lazy and you start doing this. Stay strong, and if this hip starts to give out, put your leg down, switch to the other side. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is basically a step. We all have usually step stools. They're designed so that when you step on them, they're pretty solid and that they're going to be safe for you. So again, when you step up, you want to make sure that your hand is going to be right towards the middle once you go up. You're going to step up and just push off. So again, this is going to help with the walking phase as well as going up the stairs. When she comes up, she's really going to push into that hip and strengthen this muscle right here. Keeping herself nice and tall when she goes up. Think of that ballerina stance, her head's reaching up towards the ceiling. Good. Okay? So if you've got steps in your house, every time you get to that first step, do this a couple of times. Alternate each leg. If you have a step stool, just put it on the side where every once in a while you can go to it and just step up and down. And again, that'll be good for both the single leg stance as well as strengthening and getting to that power motion of having to push yourself up. Okay. Another balance is what we refer to as the tandem stance. Okay, so actually take that back. We're going to start first with the feet together. All right, so standing with the feet together, that's too easy. Close your eyes, and you can kind of start to feel. So all of you, if you're doing this with us, make sure that you've got a chair nearby that you can hold on to for balance. Because some people, when they close their eyes, they do start to feel a little bit more wobbly. So make sure you have something to stay safe. Okay, so when you close your eyes, if you don't need it, then you can let go. Okay, now open your eyes. Now we're going to have you look right and look left. Okay, and a little more quickly, look right. Okay, now the reason that we do this is because we all know that when we're out walking, we don't just kind of walk and look straight ahead. Usually when we're walking, we kind of look around, we hear something, we turn and look, And typically, that's when we're not paying attention, and that can throw off our balance. So we want to make sure that no matter what, your body is going to be prepared for those movements. And it involves basically the vision and inner ear to be able to compensate when your body either is moving forward and looking side to side, or maybe your field of vision is occluded for whatever reason, that you can still manage to compensate and recover your balance. Okay? If this is too easy, then put one foot in front of the other to do a tandem walk. So we'll do a tandem stance first. And again, she's going to start out getting her center nice and tall. No, we're just going to stand first. Okay. We're going to stand. Okay. Get your center. Then if she can let go, then she can let go. If that's too easy, she closes her eyes. Okay. And then now she can open her eyes and then look right, look left. Okay. And you see, she did lose her balance there. So there is a little more challenge with that one. And that's part of the practice, and that's why you want to have your hand over the chair just in case. Okay? And then if you're really good at that, we can start over here and let's do a tandem walk across. Okay, so one foot in front of the other. Good. So that's a little more challenging. And again, you don't want to do that unless you're sure that you can do it by standing. Now, when you come back, let's do that tandem walk, but let's look right and left. Look right, left. Yeah, see,
that's hard.
Looking right and left, you throw yourself off.
Yep.
So again, it's a good practice to get your body to learn when you're unsteady and you're turning that it can compensate. Your brain is really, really good at figuring out what it needs to do to compensate, but it has to have those experiences. Balance is a skill, and if it doesn't have those experiences, it can't learn. So we have to teach it. We have to give them those experiences so then it can set up those neural pathways so that the brain knows what to do if you get into those situations. Okay, then we have the farmer's carry. All right, so the farmer's carry is just a one-handed carry. You all have something at home that resembles a laundry detergent bottle, a jug of water. So what we want you to do is, wherever it is, you go over to it, you're going to squat to pick it up. We're not knee bending and we're not bending over like this. We're going to squat to pick it up and put it down. And remember, when you do that squat, the knees don't go in front of the toes. Okay? And once she picks it up, then she's going to walk to wherever she needs to go. She's going to turn around. Good, put it down, turn around, and then come back. And then she switches hands each time. So that way, she gets different muscle groups. So one way, she's actually pulling her muscles together to keep herself from toppling over. So you just carry this bottle around the house. And again, that's exercising your oblique muscles of your abdomen. Easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of thinking. You're good, Nina. Okay, we can put that down. So, again, simple things that you can do at home. We learned how to do a proper squat in the previous segments. So we will kind of review that. I do need the chair again. Sorry about that. Okay, so you remember how we did the squats. Let's go ahead and stand in front.
With this?
No. Okay. We're just going to, so remember that you always want to have a chair behind you just in case when you're practicing you lose your balance. So with the squat, you're always going to start with your hip, that hip hinge first, good. The butt goes towards the chair, comes down as far as you can before you feel like you're going to lose your balance. The weight should all be in your heels. When you're at that point, you're going to squeeze your butt and then pop up. Okay? Now, we got to watch her back so that you see how her back is really arched in here? We want her to pull it back and keep it a little bit straighter. If you don't have an arch, some people have to make an arch. In Nina's case, she has to flatten that arch. Okay? She's going to lean back, okay, and squeeze and pop up. There we go. So this is something that you would do when you come back to your seat. You went to the bathroom, you're coming back to sit down to watch TV. Before you actually sit to watch, let's just do a bunch of squats. Okay? And remember, the activation is in your glutes. You're not squeezing in your knees. You're squeezing your butt. You're trying to relieve all the pressure that you feel in your knees. Okay, good. All right, the other thing that you can do is, let's go ahead and bring you around this side. If you saw Nina's polarized session, no, you can face this. Remember how we got into that 3-point stance in one of our foundational fitness classes? You get into basically that 3-point stance, weight evenly distributed through your feet. Then she's going to lean forward. Okay, so it's just fingers, right, stop right there. Okay, so you're actually leaning, so I want you to stay blocked and just slowly shift the weight to the front of your toes right there. Now let's go up on your toes and come down. Okay, so you see that you're just shifting it forward and you're coming up and coming down. A lot of times when we first do it, it's like, whoa. But if you really concentrate, you can actually come up and down. And again, remember I told you that balance is a skill that needs to be learned. So now you're teaching your brain, this is what I have to do this and have good balance. So this helps to strengthen your calf muscles, which are important in the push-off phase when you walk. And it just strengthens your legs overall. Okay? So these are heel raises. And again, when you're at the sink, when you're just standing, waiting in line, just go up and down. You know, easy to do. Even the shifting forward and backwards while you're standing. All of those things can be done throughout the day. And the reason these are so important is, again, because if you sit for more than 30 minutes at a time, it's a risk factor, and you run the risk of increasing your sugars and fats, lowering your good cholesterol, and lowering your metabolism, which as we get older, we know that already happens. We don't need to get any lower. Also, when you sit for prolonged periods of time, unless you're holding that good posture, you're going to be rounded over and you're going to be putting strain on your low back. So, if nothing else, we hope that all of these things that we showed you today will be things that you can easily incorporate into your daily activities so that you just move. You know, just don't sit for longer than 30 minutes. You don't have to do a rigorous exercise program, just start doing something. Now, the other exercises that we've done in previous series were the wall push-ups, and we did some total body exercises against the wall. You'll have to go through our foundational fitness segment number 2, and you can see some of those exercises. And those are really good total body exercises that you can do at home that will help get you in better shape, help you hold your posture better, and make you more functional overall, reducing the stresses and strains on your joints, so hopefully you won't experience that pain and dysfunction as you get older. So thank you for joining us today. I'm Debbie Kim Morikawa with Gym Guys. Just remember, be mindful of your posture and just move. If you have any questions, feel free to call me, 638-2525. Thanks for joining us.